Hey there everyone, it's Baka here and welcome to episode number 41, take 2, of the Wide World of Geek, where normally we look at what's new and newsworthy in the world of geek this week. But this week there's really just one thing I want to talk about, and that is the convention that happened this past Wednesday through Saturday in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that is the convention known as GENCON. Now, for those of you who might not know, GENCON is one of, if not the world's largest tabletop and board gaming conventions. It is very different than most conventions. Most conventions like San Diego or C2E2, New York Comic Con, they are a lot of spectacle. Even things, you got E3, PAX East, there's a lot of spectacle. What new things are going to be announced? What secrets have been kept that are now going to finally come to our hands? What celebrities are going to be there? What high-priced autographs can you get? What new storylines and comics are they going to give us? Gen Con's not about that. Yes, there are a few celebrities. This year, Janita Gavankar, Neil Grayston, Brandon Sanderson were there. Will Wheaton attends every year, but he attends there as a fan. You can get autographs from the celebrities that are signing, but that's not the draw. You actually have to dig through their website to find out who the guests of honor are and who the celebrities are. What the real big thing is Gen Con is about the fans. If you are a gaming fan, if you like tabletop games, if you like board games, if you like all the things that kind of go along with that, there's something at Gen Con for you. If you like anime, they've got a bunch of anime stuff. If you like cosplay, tons of cosplayers. Huge cosplay parade. There's a costume contest. If you want to find games that you might not have ever heard of, if you want to play some games, you want to demo some games, all of that's found in one room. Just one room of the convention. That's in the exhibitors hall. Now, honestly, when I went this year and when I went last year, that's where I went. I wanted to see the new games. I wanted to, I had no clue as to who was going to be there last year. Last year I got to meet for the first time a comic book writer named Jim Zub. Jim Zub is the writer of Skull Kickers. He's got an upcoming comic, Samurai Jack, based off of the Cartoon Network show. It's actually a direct sequel. It's the next season of Samurai Jack. So last year I got to meet him. This year I got to interview him. I talked with him over Twitter. He agreed, no problem, because Jim Zub is possibly the nicest guy in the world. Whether or not it's because he's Canadian, I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot of nice Canadians out there. But I talked with him real casually beforehand when he was over at the Paizo booth signing Pathfinder comics that he writes, and just talked real casual, just having fun, joking around, commenting on people walking around and commenting on some of the ridiculous cosplay. And then later up, I met with him and we did our interview. Got to watch him sketch this really cool Power Girl sketch. And the interview went great. The interview will be up on Friday on Uncanny. And, it was a lot of fun. It was probably the highlight of my Gen Con. So Jim, if you watch this, thank you very much. It was a pleasure, sir. Now, one of the cool things about Gen Con that I mentioned is the games. Now, they've got games you can buy in the exhibitors hall, but then the rest of the convention center, the Indianapolis Convention Center, is a large convention center. It's just jam-packed full of all these different rooms and exhibit halls where games are going on. There's a giant Magic the Gathering tournament that happens every year. There were a few other big world tournaments going on. I don't remember which game, but there was a world championship that happened on Saturday. They have other exhibitor halls where there's more casual gaming going on. They have D&D gaming going on, Pathfinder, board games, Catan, Ticket to Ride, etc., etc., etc. Games you've never heard of, games you might have played, games you might want to play. People get hotels all around there, and their hotel rooms become official gaming areas for the convention. Gaming goes on 24 hours a day during Gen Con. It might be in the convention center, it might be in a hotel room 3 blocks away. The restaurants cater to the Gen Con attendees, they embrace it. They might not understand it, they might not understand why Indianapolis gets invaded every year by a ginormous flock of nerds, but they're cool with it. Now, when I was leaving, it was actually kind of funny because they had Gen Con in downtown, they had the Indiana State Fair uptown, and then right in the heart of the city, in what they call it, in the city center, on Meridian Street, they had a big biker festival going on. So for those of you who were leaving Gen Con and weren't, who don't know your way around Indianapolis, I hope you got out safely. For those of us who do know our way around Indy really well, it was a piece of cake. Now, one thing I would like to talk about are some of the games that I got and some of the swag that I got. Now, one game that I don't want to pull up because it's awfully big is a game that I should have bought last year, but I didn't quite bring enough money. I underestimated the awesomeness. I underestimated what I was going to need. But this year I made sure I had enough, and I made sure to find them. And that is a game called Castle Panic. This is a co-op game put out by Fireside Games where you are defending a castle from invading trolls and orcs and knights. And if they break through your walls, your whole team loses. Now, this is an awesome game. They actually have a new game that'll be coming out in a couple months that is similar, but where you are defending a cabin against zombies. And if the you have limited resources, and if the zombies break through and kill you, you turn your card over and you become an attacking zombie. You have to get away, you have to, defend for long enough, you have to get away in a getaway car. You have to decide whether or not you bring anyone else along with you. So it's a lot of fun. Another game I got from Fireside Games, because it's a game I've wanted, mostly so I can say the name really loudly, is a dice battling game called Bears. So, Gerard, the completionist, I'm going to tag you in this, and if you see this, please know that I got this from you and Greg. Bears just looks like a lot of fun. It's fun. It's a fun drawing style to everything. It's very much in the vein of zombie dice, and it's just a good time. There were also 2 games that I got that I did not expect to get. I was casually walking along, and one of the guys at the booth pulled me in, explained these games. He explained them so well. He showed the art, and they were fun games. They're both card games. One's a card plus dice. They're competitive. They're cooperative. There's a little bit of everything in there. And those games are Gene Grafter. Can you see that? There you go. And Ace of Spies. Now, Gene Grafter is kind of a mutant, sci-fi, superhero-y kind of game. And Ace of Spies is kind of a World War I era, maybe a little air battle, maybe a little gumshoe private detective sort of thing. Both look like fun. I was told Ace of Spies is going to be similar to Munchkin, but it's not going to make you hate your friends at the end of the game. Which, that's kind of the best part about Munchkin. I also happened to get a couple posters, some anime-style Legend of Zelda and Mega Man games, which just were really cool. Honestly, I thought it was one poster when I saw it. I was like, that's a really cool mashup. Turned out there were 2 separate posters, which is fine. Hung the Zelda one up in my classroom. I'm going to put the Mega Man one up in my apartment. It'll be good times. I also got a sweet Doctor Who Star Wars mashup comparing the lightsaber, which just cuts things, to the sonic screwdriver, which does a lot more. So it was pretty fun. And the last thing I got, which is the thing I knew I had to get when I was there, is a giant D20. And, I was kind of hoping for something even bigger than this. But this is a 55 millimeter 20-sided dice. It's usable. You might destroy everything on your game board if you roll this, but it's usable. It's weighted properly. I almost wanted to get some of the loaded dice that were being sold just to play some pranks on friends when gaming. Oh, it always rolls a 7 or 11. Oh, who knew? But I didn't. I wanted to walk away with a little money because I stopped and got some comics on the way home. So yeah, that's Gen Con. Gen Con's awesome. Go there. It's every year. Go to gencon.com. Check it out. They've got all their convention dates for like 8 to 10 years on there. So if you're in the Midwest, make it there. If you love gaming, find a way to make it there. Now the weird thing is you've got San Diego Comic-Con, followed by a week or two later with Otakon. So you go from San Diego to Baltimore. And then 1 week after Otakon, you've got Gen Con. And God bless my buddy Spoon, he went to Otakon. He lives here in Indiana. Flew out to Baltimore, went to Otakon with a bunch of our friends. Flew back, went to work for the week. Then came to Gen Con with me on Saturday. We went to Gen Con last year as well. It was a lot of fun. And Spoon, thank you for videotaping the Jim Zub interview. I know you were terrified of doing that, but you did a good job. The last thing I need to talk to you guys is a bit of sad news. From today, the Wide World of Geek will be going on an indefinite hiatus. And I don't mean the channel. I just mean this Wednesday show. The news show. There are some reasons for this. One is that I don't feel like I'm doing justice to some of these news stories. I don't feel like I can put enough time to give you the stories properly. Plus, all the stories that I find, there are dozens of other sources that are giving you these same news stories. Whether it be on Polaris, whether it be Newsarama, IO9, Kotaku, Comic Book Resources, etc., etc., SourceFed. There are all these news sites and news channels that give you this information, and they give you it in a very entertaining way, and that's what they're about. I did not set out to create this channel to make a news channel, honestly. I just wanted to talk about things that I'm passionate about. And with shows, the other shows that I have, Uncanny, Bacchus Top 5, and hopefully soon the return of the weekend workshop, that's a lot of shows. And with Wide World of Geek, it was too many shows. I want to put in more effort to Uncanny, and I definitely want to make sure I put the right amount of effort into Bacchus Top 5, and I want to leave time for the weekend workshop. So there will be an Uncanny on Friday, which will be the Jim Zub interview. Then starting next week on Wednesday, Uncanny will become the weekly Wednesday show. Bacchus Top 5 for now is going to be a bi-weekly show on Fridays. Hopefully I can get some built up and we can have it be a weekly show. And also hopefully this leaves me time to get some weekend workshops in. I already know what the next weekend workshop is going to be, but I'd like to have a few more ready to go. I'd like to know what I'm going to be doing with it. There will be some drawing, there will be some sculpting, there will be some graphics. Honestly, the sky's the limit with this stuff because, you know, that's what I do for a living. I teach art. I can just pull one of my lessons in and teach you guys how to do stuff. I use my YouTube channel, I use my weekend workshops currently, as in today I did, to teach a lesson on perspective drawing. So this is the end of the Wide World of Geek, the show. This is not the end of the Wide World of Geek, the channel. I think the channel will be stronger. And this Friday again, Jim Zub interview. So until I see you again on Uncanny, this is Baka, and I'm signing off for the Wide World of Geek for possibly the last time. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.